Hello, everybody. Coach Reslow here from ResV Systems. Middle of the week, about to get started with playoffs for Rhode Island boys volleyball. I wanted to do a quick video talking a little bit about the idea and concept of if then for volleyball. So, one of the things that happened to me when I really started diving into the sport and trying to get as knowledgeable as I could, I was enlightened to the idea of if then. And this is something that I know a lot of coaches know about already, but I really like it a lot. It's the idea that when you train your team, and again, you're about to enter the playoffs right now, so I'm sure you're really just polishing up certain things. You're not really recreating the wheel or anything. But the idea of training your players to respond to a situation, right? I mean, I think we all kind of work on that. But it begins with your eye work and making sure you recognize the situation. And then once you recognize the situation, what's the probable result, or what would you do that would lead to the result that you're looking for? So we call it if then, right? So the basic example is, let's say you have an outside hitter, the ball's getting set to him or her, and as that outside hitter gets that big approach and comes in to see the ball, they're actually gathering information through their eyes naturally, and they're seeing everything that's happening. And the quicker that you can recognize the situation and then create the proper response to get the kill or the point, the better. So as you're coming in, your eyes see a double block, it's formed, but it's not great. It's the middle hasn't closed in time, the ball's in a perfect spot. All right. So if I see a block that's not put together well and I see the seam, then I'm banging the ball through the seam. So if I see seam, bang seam, and then you hit the ball through and score the point. Certainly, you can bring that idea into other things as well, right? So let's say the ball's set tight. If I see tight set, that's when I'm going to try to pop it off the block and see if I can get it, get it back. We call that recycling the ball. If the ball's very far off and I can't really get a good swing, don't want to error here, then I'm probably going to drop it in one or position two, make the setter play it first, then they go into high ball, and then we have a chance to get a big block. But yeah, you can take that idea of if then and apply it to everybody, right? So for the setter, if the pass is tight, then I'm going to try to jump and meet it before it reaches the net, and then maybe I set my one, I set my quick middle because that's the only option I have. Passing. If I see that the server doesn't bring that shoulder all the way back, then I know that it's going to be short, and then I crowd the plate, or I get further in, and then I make the play with my hands or what have you. Serving. If I see that they're going to a two-person serve receive, then I'm going to try to bang the ball right in between them and make it really hard for them. So if then is really a compatriot to the idea of having a full vision of what your team should look like, how they should perform, and then basically taking every situation and creating a solution for your players so that they know exactly what can happen. And it can be a universal thing, right? All right. So let's say a universal thing for me would be, if we get a dig, then I want a big approach for whoever didn't play the first touch. So we have an outside hitter, we have an opposite. The dig occurs by the libero. Both those players should be gone and getting a huge approach. And that's a universal thing. That should happen every time. But you can also utilize it for specific matches. Hey, this particular team is really, really big on the setter and opposite. They block very, very well. So if we have them in the front row, then we want to go to the opposite side and go against their outside hitters who don't block so very well. They're kind of small. So that's a particular if then just for that particular team. So anyway, another way to start training your team, and certainly, you're not going to be doing a lot of training right now, but you might be doing some strategic planning for the playoff match that you have coming up, and you can use that if then. Hey, if this happens, then we're doing this, and get your players recognizing that stuff early, really working on their eyes to understand. Hey, what do you see over there? They're all stacked on one side. Right. That means we could probably serve that. If they're all stacked over, then we're going to serve over top of them and make it really complicated for the setter. So you can use that stuff in your playoff build as you're about to get started for the final run to see who's the champ. So hope all is well, everybody. Thanks for listening. you like it, subscribe it and share it. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.